Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and with all these New Year's resolutioners out there trying to get results, a lot of people going back to the gym who haven't been there, I think it's time to kind of do a video for people to teach them how to set realistic goals and how to actually organize their shifts in behavior so that they can actually have long-term progress and not just burn out and give up. So let me put on my +5 hat of weaponsmithing, do a little bit of crafting, and let's talk about that. All right, one of the big problems you see is that New Year's resolutioners tend to drop out of the gym. I did another video on this already and already explained to people that they probably need to start sooner than New Year's, and I said this back around Christmas time. So, that being said, let's kind of continue on that trend and assume that a lot of people are just now getting back to the gym. They're going to give it a go anyways. And I think it's important that if they go ahead and do that, they need to maximize their chances of success. And it's because people want unrealistic goals. They want quicker time frames that are realistic for a lot of things. That's why people tend to burn out, they tend to give up, they tend to fail. In fact, that's why you see a lot of young men who get serious into lifting. They make their whole life lifting or getting into shape sometimes, and they train really hard for a year or two, and then they quit and they never come back to the gym. I've seen that many times over the decades. So a lot of guys who are out there now who even watch YouTube fitness, who train, hang out on all these forums, 2-3 years from now, they're not going to be lifting anymore, at least half of them. And the reason is because people do too much too soon. They burn out and then they just overwhelm themselves instead of making small gradual shifts and setting realistic goals. Truth be told, if you think you're going to see dramatic changes in 30 days, you're being unrealistic. That's not how these things work. It takes months and sometimes many, many years to reach a desired fitness goal. But the thing is, it doesn't seem that difficult when you break it up into manageable steps. And one of the things that I recommend to people is don't change too many things too much. A lot of people are going to jump in, they're going to go 100%, get sore, get tired, try to make too many changes in their life as a New Year's resolution. That's not the way to do these things. What you generally want to do is make one lifestyle change at a time. And as sometimes people say, oh, that'll take forever. No, not really, because you're making a lifetime change. When you turn something into a habit, individual little changes, you don't notice them so much anymore, as long as it's one little thing at a time. Like, for example, I would say to people, change one thing and do it for 3 weeks. The reason I say 3 weeks, researchers have found, psychologists have found, that when you do something for about 19 to 21 days continually, it becomes a habit. And once it becomes a habit, you don't really think about it anymore. Now, that can be a good thing or it can be a bad thing. You know, if for you, it becomes a habit to pop a Xanax every night and need to go to bed, that might not be a good habit. If you start smoking cigarettes for 21 days, probably not a good habit. But how about joining a gym and lifting weights? 21 days. And I don't mean you need to go in every day. You don't need to go in every day. Join a gym and go lift with weights and learn basic technique, learn basic form with light weights starting out for 3 weeks straight. Go 3 times a week. Get on any basic program. I have plenty of programs in my program playlist. There's a lot of good, basic, easy, new programs out there. All right? Go join a gym. Learn basic exercise. Even go by starting strength. You don't have to run the full program. Just learn the technique with lightweight. Get in there 3 days a week for 30 minutes to an hour and learn basic technique on weights. After 21 days, it will become a habit. After 3 weeks of doing this, it will become a habit, and you'll just make it part of your routine to go to the gym and lift. Then, once you've done the basics, you can actually go on an actual decent, real program. Do that for 21 days. Once you've done that, it will become just part of your lifestyle to go in and lift weights 3 days a week. And it won't be something that you really think about that much. It'll become a habit. And once you start doing it consistently, it'll become a habit. Now, as far as diet, cardio, other things, you can follow the exact same rules. People say, oh, I'm going to go on this dramatic diet of nothing but chicken salads. All right, that's stupid. That's not going to work. You might drop a little weight and some water weight quickly, but then you're going to get bored of it. How about people make basic changes? How about they cut out extra refined sugars, soda, and adding sugar to anything, or even drinking sweet tea, anything like that. Anything that's got sugary drinks of any type. How about you cut those out for 21 days? For most people, that's going to be a pound or 2 pounds. You know, for people using kilos, about 1 kilogram of fat could be lost in that single 3 weeks just from making that shift initially. So you do that for 21 days, and you go 21 days without them, it becomes a habit. In fact, it takes your taste buds 3 weeks to shift around. So actually what you'll find if you're consuming less sweet stuff, foods that aren't as sweet are going to start to taste sweeter. A lot of people don't know that. Things like plain oats, things like milk, things like that are actually pretty sweet. They taste sweet to your sweet buds, but they've been desensitized from all the sugary drinks. And the sugary drinks tend to be empty calories that make you overconsume. And if you overconsume, it's harder to lose fat and it's easier to gain fat. Make that shift for 21 days. How about then you cut out the junk food for 21 days? Certain types of junk food. Say you cut out fried food, fried chips, things like that. Now chips, I have a lot of UK audience, are not the same thing as in America. I'm talking about, for Americans, I'm talking about crisps. But you guys could cut out chips too, or limit yourself to eating them one day a week. And that's what I would tell people with that. Start limiting those foods to maybe one day a week. Go 21 days though without consuming any fried foods. Then it becomes a habit. How about adding in some extra vegetables? Same thing, another 21-day shift. And I tell people, don't make 6 or 7 of these changes at once. Do them one at a time, one at a time. Gradual little fitness goals. And when you do these things one at a time, you don't notice the change. They become habit. And you'll stop craving certain foods when you go 21 days without exposing yourselves to them. It'll help with your cravings a little bit for these things. But when you make little bitty shifts like that, in 21-day increments, they're easier to hold on to. They become permanent because you've only changed one thing. And if you change one thing every 3 weeks, it becomes habit. How about next, you could go in and start walking every day for 30 minutes. Find a way to walk 30 minutes. It could be on your lunch break. It could be first thing in the morning. It could be after work. Take a 30-minute walk every day, 7 days a week. Do that for 3 weeks. All right, your work capacity is going to go up. Your recovery from lifting will start going up. You're going to burn through extra calories. You're probably going to notice some fat loss. All right, you're going to notice changes from that over time. So you've got stuff that you can do there over several months, little shifts you could do. And right there, I've given you guys for training things. That's 9 weeks right there of changes that someone could make. As far as the diet things go, you could do those sequentially also. Don't try to change everything at once. So for someone for 9 weeks, I could say maybe you could make one physical lifestyle change as far as your activity, combined with one lifestyle change regarding your diet. So for your first 3 weeks, you could come in and go join a gym. Get to the gym 3 days a week. Do some basic lightweight free weight exercises. Learn the basics. Learn to deadlift. Learn the bench press. Learn to do barbell rows. And you can start with lat pull downs or something if you want to make it a little easier. But these big heavy movements, so come and do those for 3 weeks. Cut sodas and sugary drinks out for 3 weeks. That's 2 minor changes that are actually really, really major. Those 2 changes alone are going to be enormous for the average sedentary American's fitness. Then the next 3 weeks you come in and get on a little more progressive of a weight training program. That can become habit. Then you cut out fried foods for 3 weeks. Next 3 weeks you could add in walking 30 minutes every day. Add walking for 3 minutes every day. And then for your diet, you could add an extra serving of vegetables every day for 3 weeks straight. So at that point, look at the changes you will have made in 9 weeks. It will become permanent habits. You've got probably on a structured, decent weight training program. You're walking 30 minutes every day. You've cut out soda, other sugary drinks. You've cut out fried foods, and you've added a serving of vegetables every day over the course of a 9-week transition. All right, 9 weeks is a while. It's going to take a while to get there, but you know what? That's 6 changes that a person could make that are going to become permanent habits. And if the average person just did those things alone, if they're overweight, they will eventually not be overweight anymore. All right, that for most people will be enough to get them down into the normal weight range over time. Over the course of a year or two, they could stop there. Or you can continue to add new things and add one thing at a time for 3 weeks. As far as setting realistic goals, people need to be realistic. If you're obese, you could probably get away with losing up to 2 pounds a week. If you're not obese, you probably don't want to lose more than a pound a week. For some people, it might be half a pound a week. Set realistic goals. Rapid fat loss almost always results in people binge eating and regaining the weight. Slow, steady fat loss results in people being more successful in keeping that weight off. Plenty of studies have looked at this and found this to be true. Little gradual changes. Same thing for gaining strength and gaining muscle. You're not going to add 3 inches to your biceps in the first 3 months, guys. Probably not going to happen. You might do it in a year, but then you're going to slow down. Then the next year you might only add 1 inch. The next year you're only going to add a 1/4 inch. But you need to set realistic goals. You need to understand that for weight training and adaptation to weightlifting, it's going to come slower than you expect, and you're going to see diminished returns. And you have to expect that. Every period of time, expect the next equal period of time to give you half of the results. Your body responds to weight training in terms of muscle mass gain and strength gains at a diminished return. So every time period, like every 6 months, expect the following 6 months to give you half the results the 6 months did before. And you just have to live with that. That's called being realistic about your goals. And so that's definitely true for the guys who are trying to gain muscle, gain strength. And women should be doing the same thing, by the way. It's going to help you with your metabolism. It's going to help you feel better. And women need to remember that the women that they're thinking of who look butch and manly are usually injecting male hormones. Don't fall on any syringes or take any strange pills 6 times a day. You'll probably be okay. You won't look like that from lifting weights. But in general, guys, you need to understand that you need to set realistic time frames for your goals and make gradual changes one step at a time until they become habit. And when you make these things habits and you only change 1, maybe 2 things at the most at a time, they don't negatively influence you. You're less likely to burn out, you're less likely to give up, and you're more likely to just maintain those habits in the long term. So that's the best way to go. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.